At the end of 2024, the rumor that China's sixth-generation fighter jet successfully made its first flight quickly became a hot topic in the global military circle. The cause of everything was a video shot by a Chinese netizen near the airport. In the video, a strange delta-wing aircraft was flying in the blue sky. An AJ-20 fighter was flying beside it. Once the video was released, it immediately attracted great attention from international military fans. Many people found that the appearance of this new aircraft was very similar to the prototype of the sixth-generation fighter jet exhibited at the Zhuhai Air Show. It is worth noting that China disclosed such advanced weapons and equipment at the end of 2024, so it caused a huge shock to the United States. Even some American military personnel did not dare to believe the authenticity of the news. After all, the U.S. Department of Defense had predicted earlier that the technological gap between China and the United States in the field of sixth-generation fighter jets is still large, and there will be no substantial breakthroughs in a short time. They even made wild claims, asserting that it would take China at least 20 years to develop a sixth-generation aircraft. So, today's video will let us understand how powerful China's sixth-generation fighter is. And why is the United States so nervous about China's development of sixth-generation fighter jets? If you like our video content, please click to subscribe to my YouTube channel so that you can receive all our latest video content. Now, let's get into today's topic. As early as 1947, when the U.S. Air Force developed the first-generation jet fighter F-86 Sabre, it was already at the forefront of aviation technology. At that time, the main force of the air forces of many countries was still propeller aircraft, and jet fighters were almost a new concept for them. Although the research and development of the United States inspired many countries, they also started their own jet fighter projects. But in the past half-century, the U.S. Air Force has maintained an overwhelming advantage in the main equipment that is one generation ahead of other countries. What's more exaggerated is that it took the United States only 50 years from the first generation of fighters to the fifth-generation fighter F-22. Subsequently, the United States also established its advantage in fifth-generation aircraft technology with the success of the F-22 and became a symbol of global air power. The F-22 is the world's first fifth-generation fighter in service. With its stealth design, supersonic cruise, and highly integrated computer networks and other top technologies, it has always been regarded as a goal for other countries to catch up and surpass. But for many years, the status of this fighter has never been shaken. It was not until 2012 that China's independently developed fifth-generation fighter J-20 made its debut. This fighter is believed to have surpassed some of the capabilities of the F-22 in terms of performance, and it attracted global attention for a time. Many people even believe that this marks the end of the United States' dominance in the aviation field. But what is unexpected is that in less than a year, the F-35 fighter developed by the United States completed its first flight. This fighter is called the 5.5 generation fighter. It not only has the world's most advanced supersonic cruise capability, but also has short-distance takeoff and landing and vertical takeoff and landing capabilities. It can be said that this fighter has once again widened the technological gap between the United States and China. Of course, when the United States launched this 5.5 generation fighter, there were even a lot of confident jokes within the U.S. military. Some military officials bluntly stated that if China wants to surpass the United States in the field of Air Force, it must develop the sixth-generation fighter. But it is almost impossible in the short term. They even predicted that it would take at least 20 years for China to build a sixth-generation fighter in the true sense. However, to everyone's surprise, at the end of 2024, rumors about China's sixth-generation fighter suddenly swept the world and became the hottest topic in the aviation industry. So, what is going on? According to my investigation, a Chinese netizen accidentally discovered a strange delta-wing aircraft flying in the blue sky near an airport. And next to it, There was a J-20 fighter jet accompanying it. This scene was photographed by a passerby and uploaded to the internet, which immediately caused an uproar. It can be clearly seen in the video that the size of this mysterious fighter is far larger than the J-20 next to it, even making the latter look particularly small. Soon, many military fans judged from the details that this fighter was the real model of the sixth-generation fighter that had been displayed at the Zhuhai Air Show. They showed through the clearest photo of the sixth-generation fighter that it was numbered 360, which means that the code name of the aircraft may be J-36. Even more shocking is that on the same day, in the sky of another part of China, some netizens also witnessed and photographed a new fighter that had never been made public. The appearance of this aircraft is completely different from all the previous public models, and it is suspected to be another sixth-generation fighter. In other words, China is likely to have successfully developed two sixth-generation fighters at the same time. So, how advanced is this Chinese fighter? Often we can see in some films that the sixth-generation fighter jets are like primitive people compared to the fifth-generation fighter jets, and they're just like primitive people compared to modern society. This time, many military experts have conducted analyses and pointed out the powerful strength of China's sixth-generation fighter. Experts believe that the sixth-generation fighter adopts a tailless design, the main purpose of which is to significantly reduce the signal characteristics of the aircraft under radars at all angles and different bands, thereby greatly improving its stealth capability. At the same time, the tailless design can also improve aerodynamic efficiency and provide the fighter with better sustained high-speed flight and cruising performance by reducing air resistance. In addition, this fighter is equipped with an extremely rare 3 engines. 2 square air intakes are located under the wings, and the third air intake is located on the top of the fuselage. According to analysis, China's sixth-generation fighter will not only achieve a breakthrough in supersonic flight, but will also usher in a new era of hypersonic flight. Hypersonic flight not only breaks the speed limit, but also gives fighter jets extremely strong penetration capabilities. At present, the flight speed of traditional fighter jets is mostly between 1.5 and 2 Mach, while the sixth-generation fighter jets are expected to break through the speed of Mach 5, completely surpassing all existing air fighters and directly entering the hypersonic flight field. What is more noteworthy is that experts discovered from relevant photos that the fighter seems to be equipped with an extra-large ammunition bay under the belly. Since the fuselage length of this sixth-generation fighter is obviously longer than that of the J-20, the size of this super-large ammunition bay will undoubtedly far exceed the built-in ammunition bay of the J-20, which means that it can carry more types of large, medium, and long-range missiles, even have the potential to carry new combat equipment. At the same time, some experts have suggested that China's sixth-generation fighters may break through the traditional stealth-first design concept and turn to the comprehensive improvement of multidimensional combat capabilities. One of its biggest highlights is the integrated full-domain perception system. Relying on advanced sensor fusion technology, this fighter can not only obtain battlefield information in real time, but also conduct in-depth data analysis to accurately judge the enemy's movements and combat intentions. Unlike previous fighters, the sixth-generation fighter no longer relies solely on the pilot's vision or radar, but uses advanced equipment such as quantum radar and optoelectronic sensors to achieve all-round perception of the battlefield. This unprecedented detection and perception capability will undoubtedly buy more precious time for decision-making on the battlefield, allowing the sixth-generation fighter to take the initiative in future air battles. Because the sixth-generation fighter is advanced, China has continuously exposed 2 advanced fighters in one day, which directly caused a sensation in the Western world. When writing the 2024 Military Review, the U.S. media specifically mentioned that China's move to disclose advanced weapons and equipment at a critical moment at the end of the year has brought a great impact on the United States. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command even said, "We don't want to see this happen. This will be one of the most frustrating events in U.S. military history." Some well-known U.S. forums also called for we must find a way to sanction China. This sixth-generation fighter jet developed without U.S. permission is simply too much. Judging from these remarks, the United States is quite worried about China's achievements. So why is the United States panicking? In fact, as early as 2010, the U.S. Department of Defense Aviation Systems Center issued a research and development request for the next-generation air dominance project, which explicitly required the equipment of the sixth-generation fighter with far superior performance to the fifth-generation fighter around 2030. This project is regarded as the core pillar of the U.S. Air Force's future air superiority. In 2018, the U.S. defense budget allocated funds for the next-generation air dominance project for the first time, marking the official start of the research and development of the sixth-generation fighter. In September 2020, the U.S. Air Force successfully tested the first full-scale flight demonstrator, further verifying the feasibility of the sixth-generation fighter. Subsequently, in September 2022, the U.S. Department of Defense released a technical maturity assessment report for the next-generation air dominance project, announcing that the project is about to enter the engineering, manufacturing, and development stage. In May 2023, the U.S. Air Force officially launched the bidding for the next-generation air dominance project, which also means that the comprehensive development of the sixth-generation fighter has taken a key step. However, just when the outside world thought that the development of the sixth-generation fighter in the United States would steadily advance, the Biden administration suddenly announced that the final decision on the sixth-generation fighter would be left to the next government. The reason is that the expected cost of the project is too high, which has forced the next-generation air dominance project to be shelved. It is estimated that the R&D cost of the sixth-generation fighter may be 3 times that of the F-35 fighter, and the unit price of each fighter may be as high as $300 million. However, some people believe that the United States may not only suspend the development of the sixth-generation fighter because of financial pressure, but also because it has encountered obstacles that are difficult to break through in some key technologies. But looking back at China, we found that as early as 2012, China had already begun to lay out the relevant technical research and development of the sixth-generation fighter. In November last year, before the sixth-generation aircraft was officially announced, a transparent acrylic fighter model without a vertical tail was first displayed at the Zhuhai Air Show. If this flight test is confirmed to be a test of the sixth-generation fighter, then according to the usual rhythm of the Chinese military, the prototype may be unveiled around 2028, and it is expected to be completed and equipped for military use around 2035. Compared with China's development speed, it is difficult not to panic the United States. To not miss out on our future projects and news updates, please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications. We will continue to provide you with more exciting and interesting content.